This episode is brought to you by UCAN. We've conditioned ourselves to think of sugar and stimulants as necessary tools of daily performance. These fuel sources produce fake energy highs and inevitable lows, driving feelings of fatigue, lack of focus, and the need to rescue the body from the crash. UCAN is different. Its unique time release profile allows for an extended energy supply that doesn't require a rescue mission and keeps your blood sugar stable, the key to better performance and health. I've been a big fan of UCAN for well over a year. We've been using it at Power Monkey Camp, but I also use it on a regular basis at home, doing things like yard work, mowing the lawn. I love their energy bars as well as their Edge product. It's something I've actually found to be incredibly helpful to sustain that energy I need, not only in my workouts, but in my daily life. You'll feel good longer and do things you didn't think were possible. UCAN just launched their new Pineapple Edge flavor. If you haven't tried it yet, we've got a code for you to pick up some of that, plus any other products you've been wanting to try or need to restock. The Power Monkey podcast listeners out there can save 25% on UCAN by visiting ucan.co/powermonkey and using the code UCANPMF22. Again, the site is ucan.co/powermonkey and the code is UCANPMF, all caps 22. Welcome to the Power Monkey podcast, where we chat with the best in the world about what they do. I'm your host, Dave Durante, with my co-host, Chad Vaughn, and on today's episode, we have Victor Assaf. Now, many of our listeners out there might not know Victor's name, but I guarantee you this is going to be an episode you're going to want to listen to. I've known Victor for close to a decade now. He comes from Ecuador, and we've been lucky enough to travel down that way to Guayaquil many times over the years, and I met him many years ago. Victor is an adaptive athlete and one of the most capable athletes I have ever met. Talk a little bit about his journey going from an able-bodied athlete going through a tragic accident that turned into what he calls to be a life-saving accident that turned him now into an adaptive athlete after having lost the use of his right arm. Talk about the journey going from that accident to where he is today, having competed at the CrossFit Games, competing at a very high level within the CrossFit community. He was also an athlete that came out as a guest to our Power Monkey Camp 18 a few weeks ago. So the campers, the staff, the coaches all got to know Victor a little bit more in depth, fell in love with our community, as did the community with him. And we know that you guys will too. Enjoy. All right. I've been wanting to have this podcast for a while, and finally we were able to lock you down and get you out to camp and officially have you on with us. Victor, how you doing, buddy? Good to have you on.
Amazing, man. Thanks for the opportunity of just being here with you guys. This podcast, just recall of everything that we've done on the past 10 years maybe. It's friendship.
Oh yeah. I was thinking about it. It's been a while since we first met, and we've been coming down. We haven't been in a while, but we just have such a close connection to Ecuador, to Guayaquil, to where you're from, to Calpa, to the gym down in that area. And it's just been such a blessing for myself and Mike and the rest of the Power Monkey community to meet yourself and the rest of the community down there. And I can't believe it's been, close to 10 years that, from our first trip down there and to now where we are today, after coming off of our Power Monkey Camp 18, where you were finally able to make it out and be a participant and be a guest. And we'll get into camp in a second. But I wanted to talk a little bit about your journey and your trip to where you are now. And, I think a lot of our listeners might not know your backstory unless they're really into the CrossFit world and really into the adaptive part of the community. But can you give a little bit of your story about getting into the CrossFit space and how you became the athlete that you are today?
Of course. Well, it started way, way back ago, probably like 13 years ago. My older brother was like, hey man, you should try the sport. I know it's going to be good for you. I mean, you can complement it with what you're doing right now, which was mixed martial arts by the time. I was surfing a lot too. And yeah, I was like skeptical, like the first time. I was like, I don't want to do it. Like, maybe, yeah, maybe not. Yeah, I'll try it. And the first day I remember it was thrusters, box jumps, and pull-ups, something like that. And I immediately fell in love with it. So since that time, like it was with Carlos Andrade, which is very well known in the CrossFit world. The journey began. I mean, I just fell in love with it. Then I switched to a different gym that was closer to my house where I was living at that point. And I had the chance to start coaching. And at the beginning, it was obviously it was something new, something different, something that I wasn't used to do like at all. Like I had this panic to talk even to like a group of people, and all of a sudden I'm like coaching at Maori, which it was 20, 30 people in the gym just coaching that, and that grown, that developed, and I took a lot of seminars and a lot of courses that, you know, provide me with the knowledge and the attitude and the discipline that I need to coach and teach and talk to people. After probably maybe 3 years, I bought a motorcycle, and I was already a known as a competitor, known as somebody that wanted to do something like big in this world, like across the world, and I was just deep in it, like full into it. And I had this competition, like my first competition was in 2011. That was back in Peru, and I remember that due to the traveling, I got injured, like I got injured on my back. So I stopped competing that day. I came back to Ecuador. I started training and recovering and, you know, all that stuff. And by 2012, I was already known as an athlete, aggressive competitor. And I went to a Kalpa competition, it was a strongman competition, actually. So we did a strongman in teams, actually with a partner. So I did that with a friend of mine. We got second place. It was amazing, it was fun. By that time, I was this kind of person that I didn't want it to be around a lot of people. I was, like I said, and I think we're gonna get into it, like I said in the campfire, I was very narcissistic. I didn't want it to listen to anything but what I was thinking in my head and what I was saying. So after that competition, a lot of friends and people around were like, hey, you should just come with us and eat and whatnot, like blah, blah. And I was like, no, I don't want to be around you. I'm just leaving. I'm going to the beach. I want to be alone. So I stepped on my motorcycle and, you know, I geared up my helmet, my gloves, my chesty, my backpack. I didn't have pants. I was wearing shorts because I was competing. And it just full mode on my bike. So I went. This place is called San Borondon, right? It's just a straight road, just a big, long, straight road. And when you were young, as I was, and you were immature as I was, I just stepped on my motorcycle and I went just as fast as I could. So coming out of that first street or bridge that connects San Borondon with the rest of Guayaquil, there's another small bridge. Yeah, it has like a pronounced curve. And when I was going up, I felt that my motorcycle was pushing me to the right. So my first reaction was just shift.
Downshift?
Yeah, downshift and stay neutral. So when I stay neutral, I still felt that my motorcycle was pushing me to the right, and I was trying to push it to the left, and I couldn't do that. So I just relaxed. And in my head, I said, if I crash here, I'm not gonna die here. I'm not gonna die today. And then the street was kind of like damaged. So I had like 3 bumps. So it lifted my back tire. So it kind of like did wheelie for like, I don't know, like 2 seconds. And then it touched the floor again. And then it made this effect. Mm-hmm. So my second reaction was just flow with it, because I thought that if I was trying to force that movement, I was probably gonna be catapulted down the bridge. So I didn't want it to do that. So I just flew. I went with the movement. I was just flowing with the movement. And when I brought my head up to realize where I was, just bring my eyes, actually, I had like the light bulb right here. So my reaction in that moment just was move my head to the left. So I moved my head to the left. I hit my right side. I actually have no idea how I hit it. Maybe with my shoulder, maybe with my elbow. It probably was my shoulder. And then the motorcycle, which, because how fast I was going, it got stuck in like the bridge again. And when it touched the floor again, my helmet went up and it uncovered my chin. So I hit the side of the bridge maybe 3-4 times, but I bust my jaw in like 3 times. So I destroyed my jaw, I destroyed my teeth. And then I went like probably 5 meters from the motorcycle. I was laying down. The motorcycle had nothing, like nothing happened to it. Like it's just like a brake. I think that was the problem with it. Just like, and I had like everything. I had the whole, I had the whole damage. After that, like after that accident, the most crazy thing, and why I can tell you this like with so many details, is because this is the most weirdest thing that I still don't understand it, or maybe that's the whole thing, that's the whole point, actually being able to solve what happened. My soul came out of the body. Like I had this experience of coming out of the body and relived what happened. So I was standing right here while I was watching me crashing down this side. And when I woke up, there was a lot of friends around, and then there was people on top of my friends that I couldn't identify who they were. They were probably more shadows than people. So 8 months came down. I was pretty depressed. I got into opioids and painkillers for a long time because I was suffering so much pain on my right side due to the brachial plexus injury that I had, or that I caused because of the accident. The doctor was like, "Yeah, you forget about this. You're not going to be able to do this ever again. So just find something else."
You mean fitness or CrossFit? Is that what you're saying? You're never going to be able to do that again?
Yeah, they said that. Just forget about it. You're not going to be able to do CrossFit again. You're not going to be able to cook, because that was what I was doing by that time. I was studying culinary arts, and yeah, like my whole world came down. Like now, what am I supposed to do now? Like, what am I doing with this? So it came this 8 months of just being mad at myself, being mad at the world, just not knowing. I didn't want to know anything about anybody. I wasn't eating. I was, like I said, I was hooked on these pills and whatnot. And by the last days of this 8 months, I couldn't stand anymore watching my family getting in the same position that I was, which is just not going into my room, not wanting to talk with me. The house was just lights out all day, all night. Nobody wanted to bother me because they were just afraid of me just going crazy. So I woke up from the bed and I locked myself up in the bathroom, and I watched myself in the mirror for like probably 3 to 4 hours, crying. And I had a needle, I had a lighter, and I was like watching myself and like talking to myself and crying and crying and crying. And then I was trying to move my arm. Like I said, like, okay, let's try to do something here. So I was trying to move it, and it was like trying to lift like, I don't know, like a ton of, I don't know, it's 500-600 pounds of deadlift. Like I was trying so hard, but it wasn't moving at all. And then I said, okay, it's not moving, so let's try to feel something. So I started biting my fingers, so nothing happened. And then I started pinching it with a needle, so nothing happened. And then I went nuts and I started burning my fingers, and nothing happened. So after that, I was like, okay. So you have the option of taking 2 paths or 2 roads, which is dying, being alive, having this feeling of just not knowing, or accepting it and, just suck it up. And like I've been doing it like my whole life, and just keep moving forward. Like just try it. Let's see what comes out of it. So the next day I just, came out of the bathroom and I went to the gym. Like no teeth at all. Like people was like, what are you doing here? Like I don't understand why, like why. And that was probably because I didn't want it to stay in bed anymore and feel like I was just wasting my life, just laying down and thinking about what could possibly go wrong if I try to do something, which nothing wrong happened. I mean, I actually discovered a different world. I learned a different perspective of life. I learned how life is. I learned how you should treat people. I learned how you should treat yourself. I learned how to love myself. I learned how to accept what happened to me. And what happened to me like my whole life. I reached that point of, okay, everything that's been happening to me, it's because of a reason. I need to learn something. Whatever that is, be more humble, treat people with respect, love your family. Don't be an asshole, practically. And I mean, after that, like things started to happen and fall into place. It took me 2 years to actually start using a barbell, but I was using dumbbells and kettlebells and just the fact that I was able to do something when I was thinking that it was all gone. I was losing myself to the thought that nothing was going to be the same again. Oh my God, it's actually better. Everything is better. And I didn't lose anything. It's just, it's just an arm. Literally, it's just an arm. And the fact that I got away with it, like, because I can do a lot of things, even things that I thought that I was not able to do. It's just humbling every day. And it just shows you having the discipline or having that mental toughness or that mindset, that if you have a strong mindset, you're not going to be defeated ever. So obviously with the support of my family, my mom, my friends, the people that I met that became my friend and actually my family, it's just, the fact that I can reach more people with one arm that I used to do it with two arms, it's just something that I wasn't expecting at all in my life ever.
It's incredibly powerful, Victor. I mean, the story, hearing it, and I never heard you tell the entire story like that, and to hear how it all not just happened, but how it impacted you on such a profound level. I thank you for sharing that with us and for our audience, because I think it's something that a lot of people, maybe they don't lose their arm in the way that you do, but they feel lost, and it takes something significant for them to be able to be put on a path that might seem like it's the wrong path, but it ends up being the one that actually turns out to be the life changer for them. So first off, just thank you for sharing that with us and with the audience. Appreciate that very much.
Yeah, of course, man. That's why we're here. And yeah, I mean, like just that. I mean, just that. Just being afraid, it's okay. Being afraid, it's the right feeling if you're approaching to something that it actually matters to you.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned this, and it was something that was brought up to me by some other people that we both mutually know down in Ecuador, about who you are as a person now versus who you were as a person prior. And you talked about a little bit being narcissistic and being a person that wanted to be on their own, and it seemed like it's a profound change in who you are as a person, as a personality. First question, how old are you when this happened?
I was 22 years old.
So you were young. You were still kind of looking, as you said, to go and compete at a high level within the CrossFit space. It was something you had a lot of ability in, and the turn of a dime, things change for the rest of your life, but it ended up changing your personality. Did you recognize, like, what did it take for you to recognize, wow, I was being an asshole. I was being someone that other people didn't want to be around. And now to say, this is the person that was always inside of me that I'm glad is now out. Is that something that you recognize, like, wholeheartedly, like, this is the person that I always was meant to be?
Yeah. Just the fact that I have a better relationship with my family. That's all I needed. I mean, that's all I needed to, like, actually be able to open my eyes and realize that I was completely wrong. My family is not my enemy.
Hmm.
And they're the ones that have been supporting me for everything. I mean, my older brother was the one that introduced me to CrossFit. And then my mom was like, after everything happened, like my accident and all that, she was like, I mean, just, keep your head up and keep moving forward. That's what you should do.
Hmm.
We don't surrender. We don't do that. That's not how we are. We fight till the end. And that is something that since I was a kid, I know that we are fighters, right? And some of us has had this fight harder than the others, but it's still a fight. And just being able to help people without even realizing that, just by telling your story, you are you are touching somebody else or helping somebody else, just to have that courage to or tell their story, or just say, wow, this kid with one arm or whatever, it's doing these things. Like, why me, that I have everything? I'm thinking this way.
Hmm.
So those are the things that made me realize the kind of person that I was versus the person that I am now. And like I said, being able to reach more people or hold more people with one arm that I used to do it with two arms, it's also a fact that I recognize, and I am so humbled and so grateful to be able to have that power
Hmm.
just by lifting a bar, which for me is my work. It's so easy, but for others it's like, what? And it changed your mind. It completely changed your mind. It's like, wait, I've been thinking wrong, or I've been having these thoughts, like, it's in a wrong way. You don't need to go through something hard to understand that life is beautiful, and you can change your perspective by just, listening stories, or having the opportunity to share around people like we did in the camp. And I mean, that's a life-changing experience for a lot of people, even for me.
Hmm.
I was dude, and I think I told this to like probably maybe two or three people. Like, I was this close to go back to Ecuador the week before Mike texted me. Like, I can't hold it anymore. I miss my family. I need my family around me. I need my brothers. I need I need my thing. I need them. And all of a sudden Mike text came in like, hey, we're doing the camp. Like, would you like to come? That was a no-brainer, dude. I was like, wait, what? Like, yes. Like, yes, I need it. Like, I need it. And as soon as I went to, Power Monkey Camp in Nashville and all that, like, everything changed. Everything just changed. My thoughts just went away. Just being able to share with different people and knowing different people that after 7 days became my family. Like I said, I do anything for them, for you guys. Like, it's just amazing.
I mean, we can't even tell you how much we appreciate hearing that. And um, just to give some people some context there, I want to get into camp because I want to hear more of your perspective on the week and things like that. But you are living in the States now, right? You're in North Carolina.
Yeah, I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina. I've been living here for a year and a half. Almost, yeah, we're close to 2 years now.
So you were saying that, the experience there has been, it is what it is, but you were potentially moving back home, that you had missed your family and miss what was going on down there. Obviously, being away from them, such a huge kind of pillar in your life, being away from them for so long. And then camp maybe reignited something that was getting lost a little bit inside you. And now you want to continue down the path of being that athlete.
Yeah, I mean, it just renewed my energy, and just I realized that the fact that I'm here, it's also because of my family. And if I go back, I'm going back like 50 steps. So going to the camp, meeting new people, having that like experience with everybody, like literally touching, like heart, soul experience, it just made me just change completely. Like, the fact that I don't need to go back, it's just a thought that I had in my mind because I miss them.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to that hole like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And it's not that things are going bad here. It's just the fact that they're not here.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, hopefully, you have family here now too, right? And
oh yes.
that's what hopefully camp can do is, you have friends that do turn into family and feel the same way about wanting to, and just being a phone call, a drive away from being able to help you out with anything too. And um, camp has done that for a lot of people, and it's done it for me as well. And Chad, you've been in charge of our campfire stories. It's been your project since the inception of camp 10 years ago now, and you've been able to coax a lot of different people to tell their incredible stories at camp. And Victor was the latest at Power Monkey Camp 18. We just wanted to get your take on having him as a storyteller at camp, and just that part of camp from your perspective, and what it does for you and for the people that are sitting there listening.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, basically, it's for the people that are able to make it down there. I know it's tough because even though we've made it a little bit earlier in the night, it's still tough to get out there when you've had a long day. And I completely get that. But somebody actually mentioned after this camp, you guys should maybe do, I think it was Stella, maybe you should do one during the day, so that everybody can make it out to at least one of those. And maybe Victor, if you come out, you can be the speaker during the day, because your story was incredible and you did such a great job. But I think it's really become kind of the icing on the cake that is camp. And it's hard to say that because camp without campfire stories is incredible. I mean, it's irreplaceable. It's magical. It would be, almost like nothing is taken away, but at the same time, it's such a special part of camp and so meaningful. And it is literally, I think, put some of the campers and the coaches and staff in a position to where, one, again, their lives are changed already from camp in general, but maybe talking about specifically some of the athletes or coaches or staff members that have been at camp that are struggling with something, and it's their opportunity, or it's that situation that leads them to understand that they're not alone. Maybe they say something that has been on their mind and on their chest, or that they needed to get off their chest for a long period of time. And definitely a handful that have come down there that I've seen changes in through the years after this moment that they had at campfire, and being able and willing to take steps to say one thing to someone that led them to say something else to somebody else, and maybe even telling their story at campfire to help make a difference at someone else. But yeah, I could talk about that for the rest of the podcast. But there was no coaxing involved with Victor. I went up to him and asked him, and he immediately said yes. He was excited to do it. He was a motivational speaker for many years. He told me I learned that, and obviously you could see that when he was down there speaking and telling his story, and made a difference. I mean, people were just hanging on his every word, and it was a great night for sure. And with that being said, I do want to make sure that we're finishing Victor's story before we get off on too many other topics, because it might be confusing to some of the listeners. You do have only one arm now, Victor, but you did also talk about having your arm for a while after the accident. You mentioned that you had pain, but you also mentioned basically numbness, not being able to feel. So can you kind of answer those, I guess, questions that I'm bringing up here? One, where was the pain? Where was the numbness? And how long did you have your arm before you actually decided to have it amputated?
Okay. So the pain is like a neuropathical pain. So it's like it burns, like it pinches, like it's freezing cold. So it was around like my whole arm, but I was feeling it the most in probably like in my middle back and on my arm, like horribly pain, like burning. And I remember 4 years after the accident, I told my mom that I wanted to amputate my arm. And she was like, you should wait a little bit longer, maybe something's gonna come up. I'm still looking for something. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. I'll wait. I'll do it for you. So I waited for 4 more years. And in those 4 years that I was waiting, I was also looking for a doctor, like talking to my insurance and, you know, finding the right people that give me that confidence for me to go through. So I found a doctor and my insurance was, you know, check. So after 4 years, I was like with my mom and I was like, okay, mom, listen. So this is the option. I found a doctor. If you don't want to be with me, it's okay. I love you. You're my mom. I found a doctor. If you want to be with me, that's awesome. You're my mom. I love you. But the decision that you make, it's not going to change my decision right now. This is my life. And the way that you're living it through me, it's totally different to the fact that what I'm feeling and what I'm living. So if you want to be with me in this decision that I'm making, I will, you know, awesome. Thank you. I'll appreciate that. If not, awesome. Thank you. I'll appreciate that. I love you, but I'm doing this. So I amputated my arm after 8 years, or actually 7 years. So now I have like 2.5 years without the arm, and you know, everything changes for the better. It's just everything. It's just better. Nice. Feels better. There's no more pain. I have mobility, kind of. I can train better. I can do a lot. Everything. It's just better. It's just a relief, not having that weight and not having that pain.
What was that like carrying around? Really, it seems like what had to become just an object that was hanging on your body. You know, you couldn't use it. You couldn't really feel the arm other than the pain in your shoulder and stuff like that. But I mean, what was that? Was it like carrying around like a bag all the time on your shoulder, or what was it?
It's like, yeah, it's like having a 35-pound kettlebell just hanging there, just moving, just doing nothing. So what I did when my mom, we came up with this sling and a band, a Velcro band. So I put my arm in a sling, and then I had this Velcro that was going around me, and I had my arm just tied on my chest, actually my stomach. But the problem with that is through the years, it created a problem of rotation on my lower back. So every time I lifted or every time I was doing burpees or whatever, I had this rotation on to the left because my right arm was just pushing it to that side. So when I amputated my arm, you know, that just changed for the better.
Now, some of the things, go ahead, Chad.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, he's, you know, as you've told your story, throughout your story, you've indicated how things are better than they were before. And you're now saying better physically than they were. But you've also indicated just you as a human, you feel like you're better for the accident, for the injury that you had, and now for losing your arm. Two questions for you before, Dave, you can take it from there. Would you go as far as to saying that you're thankful for the accident and that you don't have an arm?
Obviously, yeah, I'm thankful. I will go through that every day if I have to, because that's what built me as a person that I am today. That's what created this monster of just wanting to keep moving forward and just wanting everything and just wanted to eat the world, you know, competition wise or whatnot. It's just created a better human. So if I have to go through that, I'll do it every day.
Nice. And kind of the same question, a little bit of a different way, but would you say that you're proud to be a person and an athlete now with one arm? Are you proud of this?
100% I'm proud of it. I wouldn't change it. I don't know where I would be if this wouldn't happen. Like knowing myself the way that I was, I would probably not be alive.
Right. Well, it's really impressive to watch. I mean, you know, Logan Aldridge has been to camp a number of times, and watching you guys lift weights. I mean, I'm a weightlifter. I'm a specialist in weightlifting. Is incredibly impressive, amazing, truly amazing, and really as impressive or more impressive to me is watching you guys climb rope. I mean, both of you guys can climb rope way faster than me. It's incredible.
I love that. The fact that the first time that I did it, it just was like, what? Wow, it's just basically the same thing, but with one arm. Should we just go?
Yeah.
So speaking of just physical capabilities. You know, you're capable of doing things that most, you know, able-bodied people can't do, which is incredible to watch. And you came to camp, you did all the stations, you did the handstand station with me. And, you know, I think you had mentioned that you hadn't been inverted in a while, and we figured out ways to have you do basically every drill in the entire station. I'm curious from your perspective how that was to be able to feel something that you hadn't in a while and be able to say, you know what, I'm actually, and I want to bring up a point that you mentioned at the end of the week that you said to me that the next time you come to camp, but how was it for you to be able to reignite some movement patterns, some things that even you hadn't done in a while?
It just feels, I don't know how to explain this, but it just feels like it feels my soul. It's like I know that I knew that I could do these things before, but I just stopped because in my division or in my way, I don't need to do it.
Right.
But the fact that I'm able to do it, and the fact that there's ways to do it for me, is just, I don't know, it just makes me happy.
Yeah. I mean, and it's powerful for me to watch, and then to see how the other participants watch and are in awe. Yeah. It never gets old. Just to be able, every time you do a movement, like we're reviewing a video right now at camp, and you're doing a snatch in a clip of the video, and you move like flawlessly. Like, I mean, I'm not a technician when it comes to barbell movement, but Chad, I'm pretty sure that if you watched it too, and you had a chance to watch and hang out with Victor at camp, you move so well. I mean, it's amazing to watch. And I just want people to get some perspective on some of your numbers. Can you give some numbers on your lifts, your deadlift weight, your snatch, clean and jerk, some of those numbers, one arm?
Yeah, okay, deadlift it's the last time that I did it was probably 335, something like that. So clean and jerk 12.5 was my last one. Pounds, obviously. Snatch 145. Overhead squat 175. Clean 240. Front squat 300. Back squat 370.
Oh my God, that's insane. I mean,
yeah,
it's amazing.
No, I mean, everyone really needs to stop and think about that for a second. You know, when I think about those numbers, and I'm always translating back and forth between kilos and pounds, speak both languages, but I'm thinking of, you know, grown men with, you know, nothing wrong with them that I've coached through the years, that those numbers are goals that they have that they don't, you know, that maybe they get close to or they don't get close to, but, you know, numbers that, again, grown men can't get to in the snatch and the clean and jerk with both arms. And again, just it's important for the listeners out there to really think about that and put it in perspective. And it's one thing to highlight Victor and to give him praise and to say, hey, awesome, well done. But it's also, we also need to all take that as an example. His story is an example, his ability, the things that he can do in spite of, you know, only having one arm, is an example to all of us. And hopefully, I mean, surely is going to provide inspiration and motivation for all the listeners.
No doubt. Now, just coming back to that comment that you told me at the end of the week. So Thursday night at camp, we have our handstand obstacle course and our relays, and it's turned into a pretty exciting, fun, competitive night. We talked a little bit about, we had Dallin on the podcast recently. So fun, man. And what did you tell me at the end of that night?
Oh, the next time that I'm coming back to camp, I will hop that station. Like I will bring it. Like that floor is easy to do it, so I'll try to do it. And if I fall, you know, I'll fall. There's nothing wrong with falling in that place.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. So the next time we get Victor out to camp, we're going to be doing handstand walking. Victor's going to be on one of the teams doing it with one arm. And
let's do it. Yes.
We got to make that happen. So,
well, I've been thinking for years, I'm going to have to practice my handstand walk so I can get in on that as well. Because now
you still have not participated in that one
Well,
time. You have a good handstand walk.
No, you haven't seen it evidently, because you would not say that it's good. What I do, Dave, like I immediately drop my knees down like I'm squatting. So I basically bend my knees and I'm basically just in a squat while I'm walking. But I mean, if it works, it works. But to be fair, normally I'm working with one or two people over on the side, but definitely, you know, Victor saying that and that being his goal is some, again, motivation for me to jump in there as well.
You got to do it. And I'm holding you to it. We're going to have nobody doing private sessions with Chad next Thursday night, next camp at Thursday night. So you can be on the floor with us.
Well, I'm going to have to come get some personal training sessions with you, Dave, so I can learn how to do it in the first place.
Oh, yeah. You and Jason Leiden, who has also said that he's going to be working on his handstand walk. I know we brought this up at some point, maybe last spring, because Jay didn't make it to fall camp, but Jay always joins in on the competition. And for 17 camps, I never picked Jay to be on my team. And he was very, it wasn't on purpose or anything. It was just, that's how the teams fell out. You know?
I mean, 17 times though, Dave. I mean, that's pretty clear, man. That didn't just accidentally happen 17 times in a row.
I was also not captain a bunch of times. It just so happened to be that he was not on my team for 17 camps. So he said, you know, I am going to work my ass off on this handstand walk, and the next time Dave's going to have me on his team. So he made it his mission. Then he missed camp. So I'm hopefully that he got another 7-8 months under his belt, that by the time spring comes around, he'll be ready to go. I'll have you and Jay will both be on my team, right?
I don't know, Dave. You know, I mean, I know you like to win, so you might need to reconsider that.
Well, let's get back some other things. I don't think we're gonna have time in an hour to go through all the things I want to talk to you about, Victor. But staying on the topic of camp, just finishing up here. Are there one or two moments of the week that really stood out to you as kind of the highlights of, you know, the things that are kind of imprinted on you from the week?
So I would say that this is the first time that I do a rope course like that. It's been a long time since I felt that afraid.
All right.
Like I was sweating, like, oh man, like in the first log, I was like, you know, stepping on the stairs, and then you have this little like things, like metal things just on the tree. And I'm like, am I supposed to use my mouth here? I don't know. So I actually used my chin actually. So I was like holding it with my chin and then holding it here and then just going up. But that was something that was so cool.
That's intense, man. Most people can't even do it with both arms, let alone being able to do it with just
that
one.
Was crazy. And the fact that I was able to just, you know, figure it out while I was doing it, that just gave me a different perspective of the fact that I'm able to do things now in a different way, that I don't get stuck immediately. I'm like, okay, what's the next step? Okay, what's the next step? Okay, what's the next step? So that's a good thing that I discovered for myself now.
Love it.
And I don't know, just being able to connect with all the people that went to the camp, like with everyone. Just being able to share with everyone. Just, you know, what we were eating, or when we were at the campfire, or that last Friday when we had that, you know, like an hour or 2 hours to just hang out and play volleyball, or just go and talk at the pier with, you know, some friends. Or, I mean, I don't think there's just two. I think there's a bunch, and I can't put in which one is first and which one is last, because for me, all of them were like amazing. Like it's just a great experience. It's kind of like, I don't know, I don't want to say it, but it's kind of like a spiritual. It's just so great, dude. It's just so amazing.
Well, I love hearing that, and it has the same effect on me 10 years in, and I know it does a lot of other people. So I appreciate you saying that, and you know, we do want you to come back as soon as you can and mark it on your agenda for spring. So we can get
I'm ready.
Excellent.
I'm ready.
Oh, now you mentioned something in there that you kind of glossed over. I want to talk about. You said that when you found CrossFit, that there was another passion of yours that you were pursuing, a life in the culinary arts. And we talked about it a little bit at camp that, you know, you were mentioning some recipes that you thought might be good for the kitchen, for the staff. You wanted to help out Katie in the kitchen with Rosie Joe meals. And I'm curious about if that's something that's still a passion for you. Do you still enjoy cooking? Is that something that is still on your radar for spending time and trying to pursue it all?
Yeah. I mean, I don't eat if it's not my food.
All right.
So yeah, I keep doing it. I keep cooking. I keep doing my things. You know, I adapted certain ways of, you know, just do things, and I discovered ways to do things. And yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's just basically the same thing. And yeah, I was talking to there was two guys that I was talking to about this. You know, they were like talking about food and whatnot, and I was like, yeah, you know, there's this dish in Ecuador that I do a lot, and I know how to do it, and I don't know if you have it, like I can help do it. And they were like, dude, we have that in the fridge. And I'm like, what? No. So the next time that I'll be there in the kitchen too. So
I love it. Can you give, we were talking about some of the meals down in Ecuador and some of the go-tos, the ceviches and the bologna and things like that. What are your go-to? What are your favorite things to cook and eat from the Ecuadorian cuisine?
So bologna is number one.
Explain what bologna is. Explain what it is.
So bologna is a plantain, right? So let's say you grab 5 plantains and you boil them. As soon as you boil them, they get soft. You smash them. You add cheese, you add bacon, you add whatever, more protein if you want cheese or pork or meat, whatever. You mix that with the fat of the bacon. You mix that bacon in. You put some cilantro in it. You boil, you know, soft eggs.
Mm-hmm.
You pour some hot sauce in it, or on the side, and there's this thing called sal prieta, that it's smashed peanut, and you add that too. So that's my favorite, dude. That's like,
and it's like a big ball, right?
It's a ball, like it's
like a softball.
Pound and yes, it's a pound and a half, probably more than that. But yeah, it's a softball. It's just a softball of deliciousness.
I just remember service going down there and them being like, this will last a whole day. If you eat this, Mike would have like 6 a day.
Yeah.
They were like, there's something wrong with this human being. He's eating way too much food.
Yeah, it's a great amount. I mean, it gives you just a lot of power, dude. It's just crazy. That's my number one go.
We need a bologna lunch at Power Monkey Camp. We need to have.
I'll make
those up.
150.
I love it. We got to put that. Maybe that's the new Mayhem trip lunch, because we're having people. You know, might have those made up for everybody for the lunch day.
Dude, they're gonna love that.
To go along with all the donuts they bring back.
Exactly, and then Ralph's on the way back.
Those donuts were something.
How many did you see how many donuts we brought back this time?
Yeah, there were a lot.
I give him the credit card and like, okay, come back with donuts. Came back with like 400 donuts. Like,
yeah.
It was like 5 donuts per person at camp. Like this, and I saw the boxes show up. And I was like, this is gonna be way too many donuts for the week at camp.
Yeah.
By that afternoon, there were like 4 boxes left.
Mm-hmm. Dude, we have a video clip of Chad, other Chad, pushing a pallet of all the donuts at Mayhem. A pallet.
Yes.
Nice.
Well, Ralph's was not. They were great, but they were like, next time, please call in at least a day before so that we know that this is going to happen. We're like, all right, we got to make sure that we're putting in our order ahead of time for the 400 donuts that we order. So
they were delicious.
They're amazing. Give a little shout out to Ralph's. If you have not been to Cookeville, or if you have been to Mayhem in Cookeville and you haven't been to Ralph's before, make the side trip. It's absolutely worth it. Best donuts around are in Ralph's in Cookeville. Victor, another thing that came up at camp that I was curious about, you know, we're playing fun games, playing pickleball, playing these different things around camp, playing basketball in the Pop-A-Shot. And, you know, I had asked you if you were a righty or lefty prior to the injury, and you were a righty and you lost your right arm, and now you're lefty. And you said that you've been able to become as proficient, if not more proficient, in everything with your left arm. Is that correct? Except for one thing.
It is. It is. It is. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. The fact that I'm able to just ride and, you know, tie my shoes and eat again and all these things. I mean, some of the hardest things is just, you know, like I said that before, like just putting that last piece of bread, getting out of that bag. It's impossible because it gets stuck in your hand and you can take it off. It's just impossible. You can do that. It's just not possible to do it. It's just no way. And I mean, the other one, when, you know, that when wedding season it's on, dude, that last button, it's worse than a workout. It's just, it would take me 45 minutes to try to do that.
I can't do it.
I can't do it anyway either.
So hard, dude. It's just so hard. But yeah, the fact that I can do it, and when I had two arms, I wasn't even trying to. Now I can even, you know, do that tie thing. So it's just
Wow,
crazy, dude.
Incredible. The one thing that has not been able to transfer over, what was that? You mentioned throwing a ball is.
Oh, dude, yes. Oh my God. Yes, no, that's impossible. I swear to God, it's impossible. If you're a righty, you throw with your right hand or your right arm, and all of a sudden you lost your arm and now you're a lefty. You are not going to be able to throw. You are not going to be able to throw. I want to see somebody throw like you threw with your right arm. It's just no. It was like,
and this is coming from superior athlete.
no, yeah.
we had that event once at the Wilwatt Games like a couple of years ago. They were like, how far can you throw a softball? And there were like 3 attempts. Oh man. I felt so bad. So bad. Because you get a point, you get the points if that stays in your lane. I was like,
Hey, I had kind of a similar experience. So after, right after high school, obviously I started lifting weights and I was training 6 to 9 times a week, doing nothing but snatch, clean and jerk, front squat, you know, all those things in a weightlifting program. And my little brother wanted me to play catch with him about a year into this. And because I had been doing nothing but lifting weights, I did not know how to throw a ball again. So I would either go straight down or straight up in the air, but I could not throw it and hit anywhere near his glove. So it was, I feel your pain there.
dude, it's really miserable.
All right, so we know we're gonna have everybody do it next camp. We're gonna have a little pitching competition, pitch and catch. See how everybody's doing with that. And I'm always fascinated when I hear like elite athletes, Chad, like yourself, and then trying to like play a ball sport and it be like, almost every guy on my team and in college was the same way. We go play basketball and it was, I mean, one of the most embarrassing. If that was ever filmed, people would be like, these are.
There should be some sort of like legitimate experiment that somebody should do, you know, take a college gymnastics team and see what they look like playing basketball or whatever it is. But I guarantee it's going to be iffy. When you specialize too much, you can see it.
I've definitely brought up this story before, but there was a time in college where we weren't allowed to train for a couple of weeks and we had to go and cross train. So we got to go and train with a bunch of other sports. So we did like a week of diving with the diving team. We did a week of pole vaulting. We did a week of track with the track team. And I just remember us being with the Stanford track coach at the track facility, and we're starting to run. And he's like, "You're the most embarrassing group of runners I've ever seen in my life. And I can't be seen with you guys, being that I'm the track coach. So you need to kind of go, I'll yell out cues from the other side of the field because it's so embarrassing." Watch a gymnast run down the vault runway, and it's quite a spectacle. So yes, we are definitely specialists in our own little worlds. So coming towards the end, buddy. First off, I just am so thankful that you're willing and able to come on, share your story, have more people know about the amazingness that is Victor Assaf, and hopefully get a chance to either work out with you, train with you, get to know you in person sometime soon, or come out to camp and get to know you. Before we get you out of here, we have a couple quick last questions, if you're cool with some quick ones. What sport or discipline do you prefer, weightlifting or gymnastics?
Oh man.
I know the answer to this.
Yeah, you know the answer. It's just weightlifting.
It's definitely weightlifting, but I'm doing my
back
best.
back on track.
Doing my
Yeah,
best
well,
to make that change.
I mean, Victor had I'm so glad that you stuck with what I thought you were going to say, because, you know, he's indicated he loves weightlifting. He wants to compete in weightlifting. So, you know, hopefully we can make that happen at some point.
Yeah, we were talking about that. That would be awesome, dude.
So just another question here. Upcoming season, you mentioned off the air, you got Wheelwad Games coming up, you got Wadapalooza, and then you got, the Open and getting ready for the games. Is that still priority number one to try to get back to the CrossFit Games this upcoming year?
I don't know yet. Like I said, it's based on what is happening, and specifically in my division, in my world of adaptive division. I will have to make a choice, if a decision, and if things are going in the right direction, I will probably be there and make that my goal for next year.
Okay.
If not, then just connect, coach, be around, teach, learn, and help.
Love it. Well, you got all of Power Monkey in your corner, and if going to the games is on the agenda, we're going to be there pulling for you no matter what.
I'll be happy to have you guys in my corner. Yes.
All right. Next question here.
it.
Of course, man. Next question. Any guests that you think would be great for us to interview? Someone you've come across recently, somebody that you know, somebody you think we should have on the podcast? It's always a tough question to be put on the spot with. So if there's someone that you got to think about, we can come back to you.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't know if you have ever had a podcast with Christopher Stoutenberg, the owner of Wheelwad and the creator of the adaptive world.
Yeah.
We have not.
I would say he would be a pretty good and incredible guest if you want to learn more about the adaptive world.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
So I think he will be my number one right now.
That's great. We'll get Jordan to reach out. Thank you for that.
Yeah, that's a great recommendation. Definitely not one I've thought of, but would love to chat with him for sure. A couple more here for you, Victor. Any books that you've come across here recently that you'd recommend to the listeners? Can be about anything. Doesn't have to be about fitness.
Books. There's one that I haven't finished yet, but it's from Elon Musk. I have it right here. Can I just go right and see the name?
Yeah.
of the book?
Yeah, for sure.
It's just just searching the brain of this guy. It's this one.
Ah, okay. That's
What's the title? Just
Elon Musk.
Elon
Yeah.
Musk. Okay.
Just Elon Musk.
Tesla, SpaceX, and the quest for a fantastic future.
Yeah, he's just I just like to. It's interesting, the brain of this guy, his ideas, and what he wants to bring to the future, or actually the present right now, because it's just crazy, dude. He's a brilliant guy on the perspective of what he has inside of him, like in his brain. I don't know him as a person,
we're
so
gonna get him on the podcast at some point.
Easy done.
That was somebody's suggestion one time. Somebody was like, get Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. I was like, all right, Jordan, cell phone call, just make the call
If
for us.
anybody can do it, Jordan can do it. Just keep working on it. Maybe in the 5 years, if we hit him up enough times, that we can make it happen. But
That's right.
Victor, thank you for that recommendation. We'll definitely add that one to the list. And man, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on today. Complete pleasure to have you at Power Monkey Camp and to get to chat with you and know you more. And hope you're there in the spring or whenever you can come, and we can all get to know each other more and do more things together. But you have any anything coming up you want folks to know about, or any parting words for the listeners?
I would recommendation to go to the camp, because like I said, it's just a life-changing experience. I mean, it's something that you have to do. If it's one time that you want to do it, go. If it's the 12th time, like I met Karen.
Ward.
Do it, because you are not going to regret this. It's if not the best, one of the best experience ever. So that's something that you should definitely do. I wouldn't recommend anything else but that. I mean, you should do it.
Perfect. We'll take that recommendation to any of the listeners out there that haven't been to camp. Hopefully that's enough to persuade you to do so. And as always, guys, we appreciate you listening in. Be sure to head over to powermonkeyfitness.com for services and upcoming events. Also check out our Instagram pages for regular teaching and technical content at Power Monkey Fitness, at Dave Durante, and at Ollie Chad. And on behalf of Power Monkey Fitness, we're your host. I'm Chad Vaughn with Dave Durante. And until next time, guys, thank you all for listening.